What's going on, my friend? It's Jeff Newport from ChasingStrength.com, and in today's video, we are answering the question, which is better for building strength and muscle, cast iron kettlebells or the competition-style kettlebells? All right, let's dive on in here. Well, the reason I'm making this video is because I've had a rash of emails lately from guys asking me about this very topic. Okay, so in case you weren't aware, there is a sport called Kettlebell Sport, also known as Girya Sport or GS, and that's where the G stands for Girya, which is Russian for kettlebell. Okay, and this sprung out of Russia and hit the US in around the as early to mid 2000s. Now, up until that time, you could only get the type of kettlebell, which is known as the strength conditioning type kettlebell. And I will flash a picture up here on the screen. This is most likely the standard shaped kettlebell you've probably used or at least seen, right? Now, by contrast, and we'll flash this picture up here on the screen, this is what the competition kettlebell or competition bells look like, all right? And then here's yet another picture. Here is what they look like compared to each other. Now, as you can see, the competition bells, they're all a standard size, whereas the strength and conditioning bells are progressively larger according to their weights. Now, honestly, I've only ever used the competition bells a few times, and I actually like them, but I've always used the cast iron ones, and I actually prefer them. Now, here's why. The cast iron kettlebells typically have thicker handles, right? And that makes your grip work a little more, and that produces a stronger grip. The ever-increasing bell size as the weight gets heavier, well, that requires more stability demand, which then requires more work, and that creates a little bit more variety in your training program. Now, typically, the cast iron kettlebells are cheaper, right? Typically, not always, and that means you can actually get more kettlebells. And also, the bigger bells, right, are much bigger. And if you like that sort of thing, it makes you kind of feel like a monster when you're swinging the big ones, at least the ones that are over 48 kilos, if you really want to go that heavy. Now, that doesn't mean that competition bells are bad or inferior or any of that, right? Not at all. Here are some of the benefits of the competition kettlebells over the typical strength conditioning bells, all right? Now, as I mentioned before, the kettlebells are the same size, right? It's a consistent size regardless of the weight of the kettlebell. That means a 12 kilo kettlebell is going to be the same size and same shape as a 40 kilo kettlebell. That's going to give you a consistent feel, right? And that probably means you're going to get more reps per set than you would with the strength conditioning bells because you don't have to adjust for the stability demand, which brings me to my second point. The consistent size, less stability demand makes it easier to lift. Okay, now onto the handle. The handles are smaller on the competition bells than they typically are on the strength and conditioning bells. Now, obviously that depends on the manufacturer of the strength and conditioning bells, okay, but typically the competition bells all have the same size handle regardless of who the manufacturer is, okay? And that same size handle and the smaller handle makes it easier on your grip, okay? So said differently, there's less grip strain, less grip fatigue, less forearm fatigue, and that means you're going to be able to get more and higher reps per set. And that makes good sense because that is the whole purpose of the sport of kettlebell lifting, right? Girya Sport is to get as many reps per set as you possibly can within the given time frame. And finally, depending on the manufacturer, you can not only get adjustable comp bells, but adjustable what are called hardstyle bells, okay, which is also just an abbreviated or different term for the strength and conditioning bells. Now, these are a great all-in-one solution. Typically, you can find them for a little bit more, right? So they cost a little bit more than the strength and conditioning bells and the standard competition bells, but not nearly as much as a full set of either one of them, okay? And you can see this particular one starts in, half kilo increments or is adjustable in half kilo increments, okay? And it runs from 12 to 32 kilos in weight, right? Now, that's a great space saver, especially if you're in a small apartment, okay? And if you don't ever see yourself lifting anything more than 32, right? This is a great choice for you, especially, again, if you have a small space in a limited budget. However, at the end of the day, the reality of which is better, the competition kettlebell or the strength and conditioning / hardstyle kettlebell, well, it's really up to you, right? It's a choice. It's your choice. It's which one do you prefer? Personally, I recommend you test both if you can, right? Get your hands on a strength and conditioning bell, get your hands on a competition bell, swing, snatch, clean, press, squat, whatever, right? High reps, low reps, take them for a test drive and see which one you like better. So ultimately, you just have to remember at the end of the day, it's not the type or style of kettlebell you use. It's how you use it that determines the results you get. Remember, random kettlebell workouts equal random results. Professionally designed kettlebell programming equals measurable, predictable gains in strength, muscle, and decreases in body fat. If you need a professionally designed kettlebell program to get you stronger, more muscular, leaner, or better conditioned, or better conditioned, I should say, I'll leave links to some of my customer favorites in the video description below this video. Hopefully you found this quick, short video helpful. If you did, click the like button, smash the subscribe button, leave me a comment in the comment section below. What's your favorite bell style and why? And then share this with a friend who's looking to make that choice. All right. Until next time, my friend, stay strong.